was off making sure that that's all fixed. He never wanted to run to the toilet midway through the game, that's for sure. So it looks like we are going to be getting in here to Sinners Never Sleep versus Against All Authority. Game 2, the picks and bans. Let's have a look at the bans then. Sinners Never Sleep, Renekton and Ezreal. Bans that we saw already in the first game. For Against All Authority, Ari, Zed. The final ban for Sinners Never Sleep was Zac. So they've gone exactly identical on picks. And there is the Kassadin ban out now for Against All Authority. Are we going to see Twisted Fate straight in there?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, we already mentioned before that Nuke Duck, I mean, he's played Ahri, he's played Cassian, like these really mobile champions. Twisted Fate isn't as mobile in terms of in lane, but he can be around the map extremely quickly. And we'll see if they do want to go there. I mean, they're really hesitant. If most teams saw the situation, they'd be like, oh, Twisted Fate's open, let's take him. But I think something's up.
Well, it is going to be Twisted Fate locked in there. And we talked about, pressure in that bottom lane, trying to bring that whole frustration factor back into game number 2 here. And Twisted Fate is one of those champions that can certainly do that very quickly once he hits level 6. Kha'Zix, though, of course, was left open. Nasus as well was there. Virtual going to be taking Nasus, and we will have Kha'Zix in there for, I'm guessing, Slayer.
But Malphite was left open. You're seeing Sinners Never Sleep hover over that. The Kha'Zix, like, it's such a good champion. I mean, we saw yesterday with Giants extra play him. We've never seen him play Kha'Zix before. We've seen Against Authority play him, but just how strong he can be. Like, the resets is just insane. Like, Against Authority, they can snowball this game pretty easily if they can get Kha'Zix fed. And, them taking it, they had the option to take it last game. They didn't. It shows that they maybe are coming to this next game, forgetting about the first one and really fighting for their careers right now.
So, Lulu currently being hovered over by Against All Authority. That Caitlyn was picked up in the last round of picks. Of course, Tabs has shown that Caitlyn is his #1 go-to.
Yeah, it is. And he's did a phenomenal job. I mean, you saw he had a 20-plus CS lead in the beginning of the game, got a double kill with the help from We Will Failure. And if you can snowball a champion like that, like Caitlyn that early on, I mean, we mentioned her like kind of dipping in terms of the mid-game in power, but the more kills, the more CS you get early on, the quicker that time of being weak just disappears. I'll try to think of a better term for it, but that's all I can come up with.
Diana will be locked in here for Against All Authority, so it looks like Freddy actually will play that Kha'Zix in the top lane. Although, we say that, and we have seen Freddy and Slayer swapping roles before.
Yeah, they do have, I mean, that's a strong lineup. You have so much damage out of those 2 assassins that they can burst someone down. So Caitlyn, they had the problem of being able to get to Caitlyn in the last game with their lineup, but this time they bypassed that completely. You have Kha'Zix and Dinah just to jump on top of him. If they can kill him, or even Twisted Fate, who's extremely squishy, like they're going to snowball that fight. And unless you see Sinners Never Sleep pick up like a damage type jungler, because at this point they don't have much damage behind him. Like you do have the Initiate, it's very nice out of Malphite, but a Caitlyn, Twisted Fate won't do too much unless you have another damage source.
Well, Heimerdinger is not going to be the choice for Sinners Never Sleep. However, Nautilus will be. Now, we saw yesterday a lot of fantastic Nautilus play coming out from quite a few teams, actually.
That ultimate is... It's really devastating. I mean, early on, like the dredge lines, if you can land them, is really strong. You have a lot of forms of CC, and if you can land that ultimate and pair it with the Malphite ultimate, I mean, you have double knockup, ideally, and you can just shut a team down. Like, they're not going to be able to attack you for a long time. They have good protection with those 2 champions against the Assassin comp that Against Authority has, trying to going into the backline against Tabs.
So let's see which AD carry is going to be locked in here. It's going to be Tristana. So Trist and Lulu, the bottom lane here for Against All Authority. Again, we wait to see exactly who's going to go with what. To me, though, with those summoner spells and the way it is right now, it looks like Nono will be AD carry again.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the passion in his eyes to keep it, to win this game, and if he had the opportunity to play AD carry support, I'm assuming he definitely want to be AD carry because he knows that he can be the one to really carry the game if he needs to. But their entire lineup, like both teams have a really strong lineup. You have for Against Authority, you have either Diana or Kha'Zix jumping in, then the Lulu knockup. So you're gonna have that time of control, then the Poland out of Diana. Like you have a great opportunity to set up a nice fight. And then of course, like I said before, the Sinners Never Sleep. How are you going to kill Twisted Fate or Caitlyn if you have the ultimate out of Malphite and the ultimate out of Nautilus to stop you?
And also, that whole range problem of Caitlyn, that a lot of AD carries do have a problem against Caitlyn because of that range. Tristana, okay, not at the beginning, is going to have a massive range, but as things go on, is going to be able to outrange her even.
It's going to be hard for Tristana or for Nuno to really farm early on in terms of this lane matchup, especially with Thresh, who can grab you and then you're kind of in trouble. I mean, obviously you have a way to escape with the rocket jump, but the later the game goes, the stronger he's going to be, the stronger Kha'Zix is going to be, the stronger Diana's going to be. And to be honest, I think they have that stronger late game team comp.
Well, that's the problem that they have, right? If Sinners Never Sleep do well in this game with Malphite and Twisted Fate, where do they put those bans? Because You know that they can play Cassidy now. We know that they can play that Malphite. The Twisted Fate would have to be a ban, and then you leave, you know, the rest of those picks wide open. But we are going to get into it then. Sinners Never Sleep moving over onto the blue side. They have that 1-0 lead in our best of 5 game against Authority. Backs to the walls here. If Sinners Never Sleep win this one, of course, they'll be in a game point situation, having to win only one of the remaining 3 games.
And we are seeing Nuke Duck start with a red pod, so he wants to just survive this early laning phase against this Kha'Zix, which you have to be able to do. I mean, if Shlaya hits level 2 before you, he could jump right on you and punish you so many times. We even saw that with Frownlord vs Giants.
Well, I think it's going to be Kha'Zix's bottom lane, actually, here in the solo lane, and Diana mid, by the looks of things. And that's what we were talking about earlier, the fact that Shlaya and Freddy have and can switch roles and lanes.
That's always been something to me that made them like extraordinary as a team, is that they have the ability to do that, and it's really hard to prepare for them in that sense if they know that they can run different champions in different lanes. Like Freddy 122, he can run AP champions. I've seen him on Diana. He's run Kennen. He can run tanks. He can run Renekton. He can run like such a wide array of champions that you can never really ban him out, and you can never really predict where he's going 100%.
There is Nautilus having a swim in the river because he's strange like that. So, what is the start going to be here for Sinners Never Sleep? Looks like Zoro is going to be helping Nunia out on the Wolves, and then in towards that blue buff. Twisted Fate is there as well. So, by the looks of things, we will have Lulu Tristana in the top lane versus Zoro on Malphite, and at the bottom we're going to have Caitlyn and Thresh against Kha'Zix.
You know, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself that Kha'Zix should automatically be able to sustain better in a 1v2 situation. He should be able to do better off, but the one thing that runs to my head is that he's against a Caitlyn Thresh. So you're going to be poked under your own turret, so you're not going to be able to farm. You're going to be potentially caught with a hook out of We Will Fail, which can, you know, completely mess you up. He's going to have such a difficult time, and in the top lane, like, he's Malphite. He's extremely tanky, he has health bots, he has a Crystalline Flask. He's against a Tristana who doesn't have the greatest amount of range, and a Lulu, so he should be able to farm under the turret when Shlaya doesn't really have that opportunity to.
And here is Nuke Duck in the middle lane, already starting to put down a bit of pressure. Actually, it's Freddy that gets that advantage. We already see Zoro taking some poke from that Lulu Tristana lane, and really interested to see how these 2 solo laners actually end up coming out of this.
Yeah, because you have an assassin over for Shlaya. Like, they need him to get strong, they need him to get CS, they need him to get the items he's going to need to really kill Sinners Never Sleep. But then you have a tank for Zoro, so you don't really need as much farm on your tank when you're just an initiate for your team. So they benefit in that way in the long run, but against Authority, like, they need to get their assassins fed, and doing this isn't necessarily the way to make it happen. Then again, you know, a Malphite versus Kha'Zix lane isn't really going to be too easy for either of them.
Look at this, Sinners Never Sleep already putting down a ton of damage onto that outer turret in the bottom lane, and they're going to force that one up as well. And you know, those traps, that's something that Shlaya needs to be real careful of. One false move and you're on a trap, you're going to get hooked and you're going to get pulled in, and it can go sour really quickly. Yeah, very quickly. But we do have, looks like Virtual going to be heading down towards the bottom lane, as you see on your mini-map. And we have Nuni in the top lane just trying to help, you know, keep this the turrets from going down, make sure that each of them can get some farm, get some levels here, because that's like the real critical part. I mean, obviously you want to get as much CS as possible, but you also want to get the levels, because then that will give you an advantage in the long run. So Virtual, as you said, coming down to bottom lane. He's left, coming back again right now. So against Authority, know that they have to put up some protection against this lane, because they will push it very quickly with that Caitlyn in there. As the hook lands on towards Virtual here, is he going to be able to get away? He uses Ghost there to escape, and honestly, worth it in the end to use the Ghost, because double buffs on the AD carry at this time in the game would have been disastrous.
And that was extremely scary, as you saw. I mean, there's a trap down in front of him. You saw We Will Failure pull him into the trap, and he got locked down. Like, that, if you're Shlaya in that bottom lane, like, that's got to keep you so scared, and that's where you're seeing him right now. He's sitting behind the turret, because he knows if he gets close to attack those minions, then he's going to be harassed down. Like, he cannot even kill these Catcher minions unless he hits them with those Void Spikes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. His protection is now gone completely. There come the Void Spikes. He gets hit on the trap, and he can only afford to go onto the traps to get rid of them when those minions are in there, so that the hook from Thresh can't squeeze through and pull him out.
Yeah, very true. And you know, we're coming up to the point where we're going to have... Ooh, we see another hook land.
Yeah, but Tabs is farming away there. They weren't quite prepared for that one. And that sometimes is going to happen as a Thresh, you know, as Freddy actually going to get a lot of damage put onto him. You know, Nuke doing a fantastic job of harassment.
And speaking of farming away, just look at the CS that currently Sinners Never Sleep has. You have Tabs, who's, you know, 8 CS ahead. You have in the middle lane a 15 CS lead for Nuke Duck, which, you know, honestly, you would assume it. You know, it's a melee AP champion he's up against, so you assume he'd have a nice advantage here, but he's going to level 6 really soon. So the bottom lane, like, he can interact with. The top lane, he can interact with really well. It's going to come down to how well Against Authority cannot feed Nuke Duck. Like, they cannot let him to get a position to get any sort of kills, or he's going to snowball on them.
Yeah, and he's up at level 5 already. I'm assuming that he's not going to be too far away from hitting that magic number 6 with Twisted Fate, which means that pushed up lanes are immediately in danger there.
It looks like he's going back just to buy before he does go for an ult gank relatively soon. I mean, he's not 6 yet, but when he gets back to lane, he should be. And it's just up to him where he wants to go. I mean, Freddy122, you picked a good champion in terms of he can punish Nuke Duck whenever he leaves the lane like that to just push the lane up against him and really apply pressure. So they have that benefit. But it doesn't matter in the end if Nuke Duck does get kills or does help his teammate get kills.
And I want to say it almost stops the threat in this top lane of that turret going down so quickly, because Nono and Zarmony can't afford to be auto-attacking that turret when a Twisted Fate is not in that lane and is level 6.
And they're already having a hard time as it is right now. The turret's not even that low. Seen 0-0 just sustain quite well. And if they ever get him low, you can just teleport back in with some items, and then you're not going to be able to eat through them again. You've seen how long it's taken them for just to get those health pots used and the Crusade Flask used, 6.5 minutes in, and they haven't been able to do that much. If he comes back with like a Giant Spell or a Chain Vest, like, you're not going to be able to push him out of lane at all.
And there is going to be putting down good damage onto Freddy. He's having to burn through that Crystalline Flask and the potions, and you've got to dodge those wild cards coming out. You can't afford to be getting hit by too many of them, as both of these mid laners are now level 6.
And in one level, when Freddy122 gets level 7, expect him to be aggressive. Like, he should be able to take Nuke Duck on 1v1 once that gold card is down. And I mean, he's an assassin. He has Ignite. He has ability to take him down completely since Twisted Fate is relatively squishy. But just like we saw last game with the Nasus Virtual, hits level 6, goes straight for this dragon, but Twisted Fate is ulti, and this should be enough to stop them from going for it. Or not.
Or not, indeed. We are seeing them sticking around for this one. Twisted Fate's destiny has now gone down, and there is the smite on the dragon. And Against Authority will take the gold lead here. It's only 200, but every little helps at this point.
And okay, what was amazing about that play, though, was the fact that they have a 1v2 lane in the bot lane. So if anything, Sinners Never Sleep has the ability to go for dragon very easily, but they realized that Tabs and We Will Fail are backed, and they took advantage of that. I mean, we're seeing a different Against Authority right here. That was just so well executed by them. They should not have been able to get that dragon, and yet they did.
Yeah, and also the big point was that Virtual had babysat that lane so much that he'd actually got up to level 6 as well, with that ultimate to be able to take down that dragon quicker. But that turret will now fall for Sinners Never Sleep. And Against Authority losing that one, and with it, the gold lead.
Oh, blue buff actually ended up going over to Nunya right there, so they missed.
Yeah.
Gave it over to Nuke Duck. That defensive passive with the 6 damage, I guess, was enough to take it, but that's actually going to hurt Nuke Duck quite a bit. Like, he needs that reduced cooldown on the ultimate, he needs to reduce cooldown on his abilities, not to mention just to counter push Freddy122, who's going to be able to have his blue buff here if he gets back in time. And he can't really stop the push that Freddy122 can now do to him.
We'll see if Virtual will be kind enough to give that blue buff over to his Diana, or whether he's going to end up taking it himself on this one. Does have Smite available, which tells me Diana is going to be coming down for that one. Nuke Duck here is, however, going up towards this top side of the map, so it looks like they're going to try and close in onto Nono and Zarmony.
Oh wow, it's a 5-man gank on the top side of the map. Everyone is up there. It looks like Nuke Duck will be spotted, but that should be a free turret for them. Actually, I don't even know if it's a really free turret, because, I mean, Tristan with the explosive shot, you have the ability to clear waves relatively quickly, but they can't really sit there when 0-0 can engage on them really hard, not to mention Nunya has his ultimate available. So that will be another turret going over to Sinners Never Sleep, lengthening their goal lead even further.
Nicely done there from Sinners Never Sleep. Turret number 2 of this game. That's already 1,500 gold they're building up, and they are going to keep pushing here by the looks of things with 4 men.
I'm not sure they're tanking up to dive under this turret, but it's allowing Twisted Fate to push mid lane. So you have at the bottom Shleya. He's trying to get to the farm, he's trying to catch up, but a 4v3 situation in the top lane might be enough for them to take the turret, at least get it relatively low. And if anything, if Freddy122 goes towards the top lane, they're going to push the middle turret and get it.
Well, you might be right about diving under the turret, but they've got a hook as well. In fact, they've got 2 hooks in there with Nautilus as well.
They're missing a Blitzcrank. They needed 3.
If a Blitzcrank was in there, it would be comedy.
Hook City.
That's for sure. It's Freddy here. Feeling a bit of pressure now. They've all disappeared from that top lane, which tells him, okay, they might be headed my way, and he would be right in that feeling. 4 men now in the middle lane. Turret's down at half HP. How do you stop this one? Well, you've got to match the numbers. It's that simple.
Oh, they should be able to take it here. They don't have great wave clear at this point with just the Diana. All you have is like that Q to really clear it out. You need Tristana, you need Lulu there, and that should be another turret. I mean, that's back-to-back-to-back turrets for them so far. And that just gives them, as you see, a 2,100 gold lead. And it's going to get Caitlyn her Bloodthirster relatively soon. It should be actually done, if I'm not mistaken, when he goes back. And it's really catching against Authority off guard because they're trying to react to it, but they're behind in farm. Like, they need to catch up in farm. They need to get a couple of items built before they can really afford to go head-to-head.
Really solid job so far by Sinners Never Sleep. All 3 outer turrets now down, and they've even got a good few wards on this top side of the map. I expect that Thresh, Failure will start to put some down on this bottom side of the map as well and really start that stranglehold on against Authority.
We saw this happen yesterday where, you know, the tier 1 turrets were taken and there was no play made, like, right after. They were just wandering around. I cannot remember the team off the top of my head because it's been such a long weekend, but we saw that happen, and the team, if you do that, you need to have some sort of plan next. Last time it was Baron being taken at 15 minutes. They don't really have a composition to do that at this point, but they need to, like, have some sort of game plan, or they're just going to let the enemy team farm up. Like, against Authority, he's going to be able to have an opportunity here just to catch up and get strong, where, you know, once he's at level 18 point, he's going to have a farther range than Tabs, and he's just going to do so much damage.
There's No getting his farm on. Still tiny bit behind. That will change here, though, with this wave. You can see that he is going to be going for that Blade of the Ruin King as his first item.
Yeah, it works really well. I actually want to know what he's leveling up. I'm assuming it's Q if he's going to go for that. I'm just to have some crazy attack speed early on, which, you know, he's really going to need. If Zoro can ground slam him, though, it's going to shut him down pretty well. Then again, I mean, you have 3 very high damage champions on against Authority, so if you shut 1 down, you still have 2 more to pick up the slack.
Yeah, we'll see how that one all works out. Slayer is also ahead on farming when you compare that over to the Malphite. But the fact is that that gold lead is getting bigger, Jason. It's 2,500 gold right now.
Against Authority, I mean, you have to remember, they took the first dragon, so that's what's keeping them in the game at this point in terms of just the gold difference. And if they can't defend or take this next one, they'll be up at about a minute, and they'll fall pretty far behind, and they'll actually fall, like, far enough behind that Sinners Never Sleep will have a lot of completed items over their None. And we did actually just notice there that Nono is not leveling up his attack speed, the Q, he's actually leveling up his explosive shot.
Going in for that one, we can see that some reactionary wards put down nearby against Authority. They realize that the vision is certainly going to be ramped up by Sinners Never Sleep with those outer turrets down, and they're trying to combat that with a good few wards of their own. But that dragon is coming up in less than half a minute's time. Freddy, his position is compromised there, stood on top of a ward, so vision was down. They put one right on top of a pink ward. Right, was it? No,
yep.
It wasn't a pink ward that they put down. I thought they'd put a pink on pink, which would have been very dangerous anyway, not really knowing what was in there. But that will be, you know, Dragon held still for Sinners Never Sleep. And against Authority, as you said, I don't think they can afford to lose this one.
I mean, it's been 13 minutes so far, and there's been more towers taken than kills. We haven't had that first one happen just yet. Against Authority, this could be a really hit or miss point. If they can win this fight here and take Dragon, they will get a huge lead. But if they lose this fight, they will fall far behind. Their assassins won't be able to get the damage they need, the tankiness they need to survive the backline dive here. And we might see a fight break out for this.
Yeah, don't forget that
Teleport
Malphite is running teleport. We are going to see Malphite joining in the party here. Where is he going to go? He's onto the top side, actually. And Sinners Never Sleep.
They can push middle.
Yeah, they're actually spotted out by a ward here, but as you said, they've got minions already pushing up the middle against Authority. Need to react to this one, otherwise they're going to end up losing an near turret. Freddy is actually coming in from the backside. They're going to engage the fight. The box goes down from Failure, and there's a lot of damage. The knockup going straight through as Virtual goes down. First blood for Caitlyn. Got a feeling it's not going to be the last one of this fight as Twisted Fate will pop Destiny. Where's he going to come in? Right next to Slayer. Stun card, wild cards, double kill, and that is 3 kills to nothing coming out for Sinners Never Sleep. They're going to take this turret, and they're probably going to go for Dragon as well.
Yes, they can. I mean, we just talked about if Against Authority loses this fight, they're going to fall really far behind. But you saw Virtual in that fight. He did not have control of his champion for more than half a second for the entirety of his life right there. You saw so many knockups, so many hooks, so many... Oh yeah, there's 2 hooks actually hit him right there. And that is a strength. I mean, that's 0-0 on his Malphite. He set up the entire fight, and that's why we keep saying you can't let him have it, or he's just going to punish you over and over again. And now against Authority, they're going to be on the back foot here. They're going to be down about 5,000 gold at this point.
Yeah, that puts them all, you know, it's just that boom.
Is that Sona getting squished?
Just an instant kind of change in the gold, and it was all about positioning again. we've seen this happen time and time again, where teams are dancing off by Baron, and one team, gets up the inside almost of the other one, and then says, well, you know what, you can go for Dragon if you want. We're going to push your middle lane. You've got to react to that one. Against Authority went for the fight, but we saw, Absolute Zero. That's not the right one.
You're still stuck on Nunu.
I'm still stuck on Nunu for some reason. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's because I'm in love with the Yeti or something. But Unstoppable Force coming in there. Then you see the depth charge coming out of Nautilus, which actually in an area like that where they just fought works so good because it knocks up everyone on its way to its target as well.
And you made a good point, is that Against Authority was the one that engaged the fight. They're the one that made it happen. Like, they were going to lose their turret no matter what. Yeah. Actually, no, not no matter what. Like, if they won the fight, obviously they could have stopped it, but they were in a really bad position. Like, you nailed it on the head, is that they were in such a tight and closed area that the Malphite ultimate was impossible to miss unless your mouse, like, bugged and you went the opposite direction. And then the Nuz ultimate to follow up, like, Against Authority just didn't have the ability to attack. They were just controlled for the entire of the fight. Not to mention, the Lulu ultimate on a Virtual didn't do anything. Like, it kept him alive for maybe half a second longer. That's just how much damage that Sinners Never Sleep has. And after that fight, their damage just got amplified even more. As you see the Lich Bane down, you see the Nisu Large Rod, you have the Bloodthirster done, you have the Last Whisper coming in for Caitlyn, you have the Sunfire Cape and a Giant Spell for Zoro Zero. So he's just going to be this tanky front line that you just can't deal with. Like, Nono won't be able to deal with him until another 15 minutes in.
Well, we'll see what Sinners Never Sleep actually do with this lead, because we've seen other teams have leads like this before, and we've seen that they've not been able to capitalize on them. First thing that springs to mind straight away for me is not really enough wards inside of that Against Authority jungle to really start that stranglehold that you will see teams, the top 4 LCS teams, let's say, really putting down and being a very important part of the plan when they get to this stage of the game.
I mean, it looks like they have some sort of a plan in terms of just split pushing over and over. Zoro Zero's teleport will be up soon. They're going to gank Nono here, but wow, what a flash out of him to dodge that ultimate. That was perfectly well played. They made Malphite ulti, they made Twisted Fate ulti, and he escaped with just a flash. That was so well done. But are they going to be able to hold this turret, though?
Well, that's the real question. We've got Nasus up here to try and stop that, but honestly, Nasus against this team is not going to do a whole lot of good in terms of defense. The minions do finally start to come in, and Sinners Never Sleep feel that they're going to be pushed back, and they do decide to retreat.
Oh, Taz has to be careful on the bottom lane. If Freddy 1-2 lands this Crescent Strike, Tab should be able to be killed here, as Freddy 1-2 does have Ignite, does have Flash up, and that would be honestly a big pickup for them because they need an Assassin to get fed. They have no kills. They need one of them to really excel, and he's behind in CS in terms of his counter opponent in the mid lane. Schley does have an advantage over Zoro Zero, but he doesn't have the assist. Like, he's still losing in gold.
I just saw there one wild card, the damage that it puts down onto Nono as actually he's going to go in there. Oh, that's anti-active in there from the Blade of the Ruin King, and Nuke Duck is in all kinds of trouble. He will fall, and that was well coordinated. Good play out of Against Authority.
Yeah, very well. The problem is their top turret is being pushed. They can't really push down mid lane right now because the split pushing power, well, I say split pushing power, but Twisted Fate was the one that was in mid lane. You see Caitlyn and Malphite off by themselves, but they had to deal with them somehow because Tabs is just getting fed right now. He's 175 CS. He's level 11 right now compared... Well, no, he's level 11 at this point still, but he's like getting the solo experience. He's getting this turret very low. And Malphite's doing the same. Like, you can't even kill Zoro Zero at this point.
Oh, Schleyer comes in there. Decides doesn't want to stay and fight that Caitlyn. Instead, happy to push Tabs away and stop that onslaught in the bottom lane. It's a 30 CS difference. As you see a BF sword being picked up here by Nono. I'm guessing that Tabs has actually got a decent amount of cash here as he does start to go back. Yep, 1,200 gold he's sitting on, and he spends 1,000 of that gold on his way back, plus the elixir coming in. So he's got Bloodthirster, Last Whisper. Compare that over to the Blade of the Ruin King and the BF sword for Nono.
And seeing a red pot picked up this early on kind of shows that Sinners Never Sleep maybe wants to go for a fight very soon. He's gonna, obviously wants the extra damage, but he needs to survive against the double assassins, and that red pot's giving that little bit of extra health and maybe a little bit of extra life still because of the attack damage onto the Bloodthirster that he's gonna need to survive.
There's Freddy and Zoro Zero meeting up inside of the tri-bush, and I think both of them are like, no, we probably can't kill each other at this stage. We'll just end up wasting a lot of abilities. And then one person probably end up having to flash away in the end and burn that as well. So they both decide, no, let's not do that one. Let's not fight. And we move into a slower part of the game. Almost at the 20-minute mark here. Gold difference is approaching 7,000 gold. That's quite a chunk of gold, to be honest with you. If you look at the distribution there, 2,000 in the middle lane, 1,200 between the AD carries, 1,000 in the top lane as well.
And one thing that's really unfortunate for Schleya from Against Authority is that he went for his man immune before anything else. Like, that just shows you, so he knows they're behind. He needs just the damage now. He can't afford to wait for that Bloodthirster. He can't afford to wait for the Brutalizer. He just needs some sort of item. And if he was able to get his Bloodthirster and, well, maybe his Brutalizer or even just the Bloodthirster alone, like, he would have so much more poke damage that he could actually create opportunity for them to fight. Like, he could get Sinners Never Sleep low enough that they can go in.
So, pink ward's down here on Dragon. We've got 13 seconds to go until that one spawns in. Against Soul Authority, they're not too far away, but honestly, I don't think they're really in a position to react, certainly to the Dragon itself. Maybe they'll try and do some other objective while that Dragon is in fact going to be going on, and it seems that Diana and Kha'Zix's combo will be going to push the top lane out, but Malphite will be waiting. Sinners Never Sleep do pick up the Dragon, and we've just seen Twisted Fate going to ultimate up towards this blue buff and then joining the top as well.
The thing is, I'm pretty sure Against Authority cannot really kill 0-0 either, with just the items he has. He's going to have his randoms done very soon. Twisted Fate's still coming in, but so just going to clear this out, and they gave up a Dragon, or Against Authority gave up the Dragon, but they didn't get anything off of it at all. I mean, they got a little bit of farm, but that's obviously not worth it.
Yeah, that's not the trade that they wanted. There's no doubt about that one. Again, this bottom lane gets pushed up on towards the turret, and it's like all clamoring basically for that CS at this point. As Nuke still doing the blue buff. I'm guessing he backed away from that somewhat to go to that top lane just to give it protection, and then had to come back down. Obviously, he had that Lich Bane and the needlessly large rod earlier. I'm guessing that he's actually got a load of gold now after what they've just picked up to go back and spend. But blue buff's on. He's got 1,300 gold to spend. He wants to make it more before he goes. I
think he's going to be going for that Zhonya's as that next item. I mean, against a double assassin, if him and Caitlyn can't be killed, because of Zhonya's, because of GA, which you see Taz going for next, then that goes the whole composition that Against Authority has. Like, are you not going to burst down Malphite? You're not going to burst down Nautilus, and that just completely screws him over for the fight.
So, what are Against Authority planning here? They're the ones that are now having to come back in this game. But, well, I mean, what's the plan for it? It's a hard one because Sinners Never Sleep are the team that can fight right now, and that they've already proven they have such amazing fighting capabilities.
Well, you saw Ultimate yesterday. Like, they were down over 10,000 gold, and we were just wondering, like, how are they ever possibly going to get back into this game? And it was because, you know, Giants threw it in terms of they didn't push the advantage, they didn't close out the game, and, you know, Sinners Never Sleep, they're up 1-0 in the series, so they have the opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive, be a little bit more ballsy, but they're not pushing their advantage right now. Yeah, they're taking Dragons, but they're not trying to push down any turrets, and now you're seeing Against Authority be the aggressors here.
Yeah, they're going to go in towards this middle turret. Freddy actually going to come in here. Is he going to get anything from it? Kha'Zix jumps in, the box goes down. Stun onto Freddy. Wildcard's not perfect, but Nautilus comes in around the side. We've got one kill. It's Tabs that took down Kha'Zix, but No is jumping around, trying to get those kills, and they're going to flash over onto him again. There's the stun. Double kill for Tabs. That was so well played, and now Virtual is the one that is going to be running away on that top side with Zoro coming around the side. He does have unstoppable force, and he is going to go in towards Virtual. He's hooked, he's stunned, and he's dead.
That fight was like teetering on a knife's edge. If Schleya, I think he actually missed his Void Spikes there, if I'm not mistaken. If he maybe have hit it onto Tabs, they actually could have killed him. He could have got resets in, and they could have turned that fight around. And No, I mean, just trying to make a big play right there. You saw him flash over that wall, trying to get that kill and get that jump yet again, but unfortunately it didn't work out for him. And that's the downside to being behind, you know, in the game and then losing a fight. You're just going to fall further behind. You're going to lose Baron, and that's a 5-man Baron. Sinners Never Sleep. They probably have a lot of gold to spend, and they're going to be like rushing down either lane they want, whichever one they choose.
Well, first of all, it's all about going home and buying up this spike that's going to come in. Going to be dangerous for Against Authority if it wasn't already. 10,000 gold lead in there, a Guardian Angel for Caitlyn, and that just totally swings things even more when it comes to team fights.
Yeah, Tabs, I mean, he cannot be bursted down at all by the composition that Against Authority has at this point in time. But that means Nuke Duck is going to be the focus. He didn't even go for a Zhonya's. He actually went for Rabadon's Death Cap. Looks like he's going to a DFG as his next item. I mean, he has a lot of damage, but he's also very squishy. If he gets caught out, like, that could be the loss of the fight for him.
Oracle on We Will Failure, of course. And they are going to be pushing all of these lanes out as far as they can. before they pick a final target here. Tad's going to have the red buff for himself as well. Make short work of that one. He is ahead in the CS, but it's those kills that are making a massive difference. Plus, of course, the global objectives as well. 3-0-2 right now. Nono's items not really changed since the last time we talked about, and that just shows you how slowly Against All Authority are bringing this gold in.
I mean, yeah, it's a 10,000 gold there right now for Sinners Never Sleep, and you know, if they can get farm on a Nona, you made a good point when we were looking at the same spot earlier that everyone was clawing for some CS, but you need to get the CS in the right spots. You need to make sure Nona gets it, you need to make sure Shleya and Freddy122 gets it, but then also on the same side of that coin, you know, if you do that, then your tanks won't be tanky, and you can't survive the damage in the fight, so it's a really hard trade-off that Against Authority has to kind of make.
Well, as I was talking about those wards that need to be put down by Sinners Never Sleep earlier on, the top side of the jungle is now peppered in them. They have complete vision should Against All Authority start to step out of that base, and they are trying to push in towards that inhibitor turret now.
Of course, the split push power of a Twisted Fate, like this is why he's been banned out so often. He can just sit there with a Lich Bane, with the Death Cap, take turrets down extremely quickly, and then you have Sinners Never Sleep with Zora Zero. You have that Malphite, so if they ever go for an engage, you're gonna buy enough time for Nuke Duck to get there to really help out.
Yeah. He's just waiting in the wings, and you know that we've seen 2 or 3 great Malphite performances out of him already. Right now he's sat at 1-0-4. Was actually behind in CS the entire time, but you know, that didn't really matter to them because he was coming up with the goods when it came to that team fight in time.
And it goes back to that whole trade-off of if the assassin is only like 10-20 CS ahead of you, you're still winning that in the end because you're gonna be able to build the tank items a lot easier than the assassin will be able to get the damage. And that's some poke they have. I mean, you have a blue buff onto Nuke Duck. He's able to spam those wild cards, and that turret is just getting shredded down there. Actually, engage on Freddy.
Yeah, Freddy in all kinds of trouble. Unstoppable Force is still up. Where's it going to go here from Zora Zero? They pick up kill number 1. Virtual going to get chomped down, and the Unstoppable Force gets 3 of them. 2 killed by the wild cards. Double kill for Twisted Fate. And this is Sinners Never Sleep taking down the inhibitor. They're surely going to finish off the game here. This is going to be game point. This is LCS Summer Split point for Sinners Never Sleep now. Those Nexus turrets going to fall. The Nexus itself will go down, and they are in cruise control at this point. There are 3 games remaining. They can't be too confident. We've seen it slip away from teams before yesterday, albeit with Giants when an alternate came back from that 2-0. But now it's on Against All Authority to do exactly that here, and you can see the frustration. Shleya just not looking, you know, in the zone at this point, but Sinners Never Sleep, you have to give it to them. They've had a game plan, they've stuck to it. They've done amazingly well.
Just keep in mind, though, after the first game, when it looked just completely horrible for them, they were able to at least do a little bit better in this game, and maybe the third, they'll be able to take it back. Maybe they'll be able to pull an alternate and win 3 straight.